Let's be honest here. There are a lot of well-meaning people on the internet giving overly complex advice about online security and privacy. It's a line that even I myself get too close to at times. Should you abandon all Apple products, pay for everything using crypto, only connect to the internet via Tor? Should you install a Linux-based operating system? This is advice that assumes you're some kind of spy or important figure whose data is being actively monitored, whereas the reality is that most of this is just a distraction for us. It keeps us from taking the time to do the necessary important steps for our general protection. So today I'm going to walk you through one such task that I believe is important for all of us to do. It's free, it will only take you 10 minutes, and surprisingly few people talk about it. Welcome to All Things Secured. My name's Josh, and today we're doing a practical tutorial on how to put a freeze on your credit. Now, I want to quickly explain why I think this is important for you to do and warn you about the biggest potential hassles you'll encounter. But if you want to go ahead and just jump straight to the tutorial, you can use the time marker that you see here. So let's start with the basics. You know that you have a credit score, right? Well, there are credit bureaus that track your credit worthiness based on your spending patterns, what kind of debt you have, whether it's good or bad debt, and so on. This isn't just for US citizens either. This applies to people all over the world. Whenever you want to open a new credit card, to buy a car, or to take out a mortgage for a new house, anything that requires borrowing money, these bureaus communicate behind the scenes with these companies to share whether or not you're a safe person to lend money to. The system itself is good and necessary, but most people don't use it to their advantage. The problem is that as hard as we try to protect our financial data or just any of our personal data online, statistics indicate that your identity is floating around on the black market right now. Or if it isn't, it will likely do so at some point. Here's an example. A few years ago, a hacker gained access to my Gmail account. This is obviously before I'd secured it with two-factor authentication, and they were able to snoop around enough to find a document from 10 years ago that had my social security number on it. Within 10 minutes, a credit card was opened in Florida using my identity number that could have easily ruined my credit and online reputation. Thankfully, I was able to move quickly to cancel that card and secure my Gmail account, but it taught me something very important about credit bureaus. The credit bureau did nothing wrong, hear me out, but they have the power to stop this kind of attack before it begins, and that is where the credit freeze comes in. By law, these credit bureaus are required to give you the option to freeze any and all requests for new credit to be issued. So if there had been a credit freeze on my account a few years ago, the bank in Florida would have received the application for a new credit card, they would have checked with the credit bureau, and then they would have been told that all new credit had been frozen. The application would have been denied and nothing would have happened. Now, credit bureaus make money through this whole process. So they don't promote the credit freeze option because it ties their hands. They might try to sell you on a credit lock or what's known as a fraud alert, but these are not the same. Don't fall for it. With a lock or a fraud alert, the credit bureaus are still legally allowed to sell your data to third parties, which is a huge revenue driver for them. You know how you get those notices in the mail that you're pre-approved for a credit card or that you're eligible for a debt reduction service? Yeah, that's likely the result of a credit bureau selling your data. A credit freeze prohibits them from replying to credit checks and selling your data, and that, in my opinion, is really important. It's such a no-brainer, in fact, that I don't understand why we don't hear about this more often. There are two big hassles that you'll have to deal with here that I want to warn you about. The first is the fact that a credit freeze, it needs to be set up with each individual credit bureau. It takes a little bit of time, but as you'll see in the tutorial, it's not that long. They purposely don't want to make it easy, and they don't talk to each other about this one thing just because they want to make it hard. The second is that in the future, when you legitimately need to borrow money, you'll have to jump through a few extra hoops. I mean, you'll have to remember to unfreeze your credit or thaw it, which would need to be done at least an hour in advance of any credit request. Otherwise, if you don't do this, you'll find yourself at the car dealership having had your credit application denied and then waiting for an hour while you thaw your freeze to try again. Does that make sense? If you have any questions about why this is important or what it all means, please leave them in the comments below. But for now, let's jump onto my computer and I'll show you exactly how I set up the credit freeze on each of the three major credit bureaus for free. All right, so you can use the links here. I'll have this link to a page that has all these links, but I'm also going to put it in the description where you can go and visit the Equifax website, specifically their freeze page. So I'm going to click on add a credit freeze. And one of the things that you're going to notice as we go through this tutorial is that you're going to have to give over a lot of information. And that is common, but don't worry about it because trust me, they already have this information. All they're doing is verifying your identity. So I'm giving them my name, I'm giving them my address, I'm giving them even my social security number or my ID number. And this will allow them to verify that I am who I say that I am, so I can put a freeze on that account. So I'm going to go ahead and click that I'm not a robot, and then click on continue, and we're going to continue on in the process. For Equifax, and each of these credit unions is different, I'm going to have to create an account. So I'll create an account with them using my email address and then confirm my email. And of course, I'm going to create a password. If you guys have been watching All Things Secured for a while, you know that I use one password to store my passwords. Instead of putting it in my test vault, I am actually going to put it in my private vault, and I'm going to save my account here for Equifax. The reason you want to do that for sure is because I want to be able to log back in and thaw or unfreeze any credit freeze that I'm creating right now. So in order to verify my identity, they're going to send me a one-time code to my email. So if you see here, I'm just going to go into my email, I'm going to copy that code, and then I'm going to go in and paste it into this place where I can verify my code, and they're going to process and verify my information. All right. Now the account setup is complete. That's just step one here with Equifax, but trust me, it's not too much longer here. We're going to jump in and we're going to place a freeze here with Equifax. So they're going to give you a little bit of information. It's free, what it does, and then how you would take and make sure that you need to go into the others, Experian and TransUnion, to make sure you do a freeze there as well. So we're going to place that freeze, and then the freeze is done. The only other thing that you're going to want to make sure you do is to download that confirmation PDF. This just ensures that you've got to place a record of the freeze so that if you needed to go back and unfreeze it and something went wrong, you have that record that you placed the freeze. So this is what it looks like if you wanted to look. I'm going to go ahead and open this up right now so you can see. All it is just an official document that says we're writing to confirm that a security freeze was placed on your Equifax credit report. And then if you go down, they're telling you how to go ahead and do that same thing on TransUnion and Experian. So there we go. It took us, gosh, I think it's only been like 3 minutes now where we have placed that freeze on Equifax. I'm not speeding this up in any way. This is done in real time so that you can see it. I'm going to go back and open up Experian. And now we're going to do the same thing with Experian. I'm going to add a security freeze and then freeze my own credit file. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to add my name. I'm going to add my last name, my address. I have to give over my social security number. I'm going to have to give over my date of birth and my email address. This is all going to be familiar to you, and it shouldn't be that hard for you to be able to do. But one of the things that is interesting with Experian is that they're going to give you a PIN number, and that PIN is what's going to allow you to thaw or unfreeze your credit freeze. And you can have them just give you one, or if you notice here, I'm going to click yes to creating my own PIN, and that's where I'm going to go in, and I have to create a PIN between 5 and 10 digits that I'll use to be able to unfreeze or thaw out my account. All right, I've clicked continue. This is something that both Experian and TransUnion do to verify your identity, and that's where you've probably seen this before. You have to go in and answer a number of questions about, did you open this credit card? What year did you do this? Have you ever lived in the following county or on the following street? And a lot of the answers, they'll give you 4 or 5, question or potential answers, and then the very last one will be none of the above. And you just have to guess sometimes because I mean you shouldn't know the answers obviously, but sometimes it's the questions are confusing to me. All right, anyway, we've submitted that. My identity has been verified, and then my personal identification number is there. I can print that off to keep it for my records. I'm going to go ahead and do that, print that page, keep it on a safe place on my computer, and then we're really done here. So I can go ahead and close out Experian, and now we just have one more left, and that is TransUnion. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to click on TransUnion, and I'm going to want to add a freeze for the TransUnion account. TransUnion is just like the others where we have to create an account in order to put that freeze on our account. So I'm going to speed this up just a little bit where I've put in my address, my email address. They even ask for my phone number. But all of this, I've done it before, my date of birth, the last 4 digits, my social security number, and no, I don't want you to send me a whole bunch of emails. All right, so I'm going to create an account with a username and a password, and of course, saving that password in 1Password in my private vault. And then they also asked me to do a secret question where, if I forget my password or something, they can use this question to verify my identity. So I'm going to accept and continue to step 3. And this is where, again, I'm asked all of these questions to verify that I actually am who I say I am, that I had this phone number, that I lived in this county, or that I lived in this city in 2001. So I'm going to answer those questions and verify my identity. Great. Now we're done with TransUnion, and we need to add that credit freeze once we've created our account. So I'm going to click on that, click Add Freeze, and then I'm going to go ahead and create my PIN again. You can use the same PIN, you can use a new PIN, it's completely up to you. You just need to make sure that you store that PIN number so that you can go in and unfreeze your account when you need to do that. And there we go. My PIN number is set. The freeze is now on with TransUnion, and all of my credit accounts are frozen. And just like that, a freeze has been placed with all 3 credit bureaus. It didn't take that long, as you saw, and it was absolutely free, just like I told you. There are just those 2 things to remember here. First, make sure you keep your login information or PIN number so that you can thaw the freeze when you need to. And second, think about other members of your family, including even your kids, as those who might possibly need to have their credit frozen as well. It's a very set it and forget it type of action, and there's no good reason not to protect yourself in this way. Was this helpful? Give the video a like and make sure you head over to allthingssecured.com using this link or what you'll find in the description below to download my free checklist of the most important online security and privacy changes that will take you less than an hour to implement. Take care.